I got dumped by email. No joke. 13 years of marriage, and she ended it with a PDF attachment. My name's Mark. I'm 44, work as a safety officer on a deep-sea oil platform off the Gulf Coast. I'd been on shift for 3 months straight. No land, no breaks when I got the email. Subject line, let's be adults about this. The body, 3 lines. She'd filed for divorce, she'd emptied our joint account, and she'd moved her new boyfriend Travis into our house in Corpus Christi. Read it twice. Then I closed my laptop, splashed cold water on my face in the rig's locker room, and went back to work like nothing happened. That night in the bunk room, I replied with one word. Understood. No arguments, no begging, no threats. That's not who I am. Glenn, my roommate, noticed something was off. You all right, man? He asked while brushing his teeth. Yeah, I lied. Just some stuff back home. He didn't press. Offshore guys get it. We all leave things behind. Truth is, I wasn't blindsided. Not really. About 6 months before the rig shift, things started changing. Little stuff. Jess stopped asking when I'd be home. Started working late at her vet clinic. New gym clothes, new phone, new password, new attitude. She said it was stress. Said she was exhausted. I knew better, but I didn't call her out. I'm not the jealous, check her phone kind of guy. I was raised to handle problems by staying calm, keeping my head down and making a plan. So that's what I did. Quietly, I opened a new bank account, rerouted part of my paycheck. Not enough to raise alarms, but enough that I wouldn't be left with nothing if it all went sideways. I also rented a small storage locker, moved in all my personal stuff that mattered. My grandfather's Watu medals, the deed to the house, which was in my name thanks to a rig job loan, the only photo I had of my mom. Important things. Things Jess never noticed were gone. She hugged me at the airport the night I flew out, said be safe. Eyes dry, smile polite. Like I was some neighbor going on a business trip, not her husband leaving for 3 months in the middle of hurricane season, and I still hoped I was wrong. Wasn't? What Jess didn't know is I'd been quietly preparing for that moment. What I didn't know was how dirty it would get. 2 weeks after her email, I was grabbing coffee in the mess when my phone buzzed. It was a bank alert. Another withdrawal, $76,400 gone. I opened the app. Our savings, years of rainy day funds, had been drained. Only $18.32 left in the account. I nearly dropped my mug. Later that night, I called the bank from the rig's comms room. They told me she'd been draining it for weeks. Small transfers. Then boom, everything gone in one shot. Right after I left for the platform, I stared at the gray metal wall of the phone booth, listening to the hold music, wondering how the hell this became my life. Back in the bunkhouse, I pulled out my laptop and logged into our smart home system. Just forgot I could access it remotely. On the security cam, some dude, mid-30s, beer gut, tribal tattoos, walking around my kitchen, drinking from my coffee mug, wearing my hoodie, petting my dog. Jess was there too, laughing like everything was perfect. Something inside me just switched. It wasn't rage, not even heartbreak. It was clarity, cold, focused. This wasn't about salvaging a marriage anymore. This was about war. At 03:00, while the rest of the rig slept, I sat in the break room writing a list on the back of an empty cereal box. I didn't need sleep. I needed answers. First thing, call Mason, old buddy from rig days, now a corporate lawyer in Houston. Second, check the deed. Jess had mentioned something about refinancing last year. I hadn't paid much attention. Big mistake. By sunrise, I was on a satellite call with Mason. He didn't waste time. She drained your account, filed for divorce, and moved in her boyfriend? While you were working 12-hour shifts in the middle of the Gulf? Correct. Mark. I've seen snakes, but this is full cobra. Can you help? He sighed. First thing, check if she touched the house. The house. Our one-story place near the marina. Bought it 4 years ago through a veterans loan program. I'd paid the down payment myself. Loan was in my name, but I'd added her to the deed. Thought it was the right thing to do. Mason ran a title check. I've got something, he said. She filed a quitclaim transfer. A what? She removed your name from the deed, falsely, and submitted a refi request last month, but she can't, my signature. She forged it. My heart didn't race. It slowed, like my brain shifted into combat mode. Jess wasn't just moving. She was trying to erase me, financially, legally, completely. She also listed someone else on the refi app, Mason added. Name ring a bell? Travis Meyer? I nearly laughed. Her new boyfriend. The guy using my shampoo and my remote control. There's more, Mason continued. Travis has priors, petty fraud, DUIs, class act. My blood didn't boil. It iced. Over. This wasn't a breakup, it was a setup, a coordinated ambush on my life. Can we stop it? I asked. Not only can we stop it, we're gonna flip the damn table. Mason got moving fast. Filed an emergency freeze on the refinance based, on signature fraud. Notified the county recorder. Issued a cease and desist against any property transactions involving our address. But I wasn't done. That night, while the rig rocked gently under a storm, I pulled up the home security footage again. And that's when I got my first real twist. Travis wasn't alone. A man in a blazer showed up at the house, balding, pushing 50, handed Jess a folder. She smiled like they were closing a deal. He wasn't a lawyer. He was a real estate agent. I zoomed in on the car door. His logo read, Daniel Spencer, Quick Turn Realty. I Googled him from the rig's clunky computer. Specializes in rapid-fire home sales. All cash deals. Divorce cleanouts. Sketchy. Views. Too many coincidences. I sent his info to Mason. 3 hours later, I got a text. That guy's trouble. Done deals with Travis before. Looks like they're flipping homes out from under military spouses. I sat back and exhaled. Not just betrayal. Organized theft. Suddenly, it wasn't just Jess trying to take me for a ride. It was a whole grift. And I might not be their first victim. That night, I filed a formal complaint with the FBI tip line, just in case. But I wasn't sitting around waiting on bureaucracy. When I returned stateside 3 weeks later, I didn't call Jess, didn't even go home. I checked into a cheap motel under the name John Richter, paid cash, and met Mason, in person. You sure you want to go through with this? He asked. I looked him in the eye. I didn't spend the last 3 months on an ocean rig eating cold eggs and dodging drilling fires just to let 2 con artists gut my life. Good, he said, sliding me a folder, because you're gonna love what we found. Inside was a paper trail, forged signatures, property transfers, digital footprints. But the highlight? A camera still from our front porch. Travis shaking hands with Spencer, with Jess in the background smiling. Oh, and one more thing, Mason added. They filed a listing for your house, goes live Friday. Without my consent? Fraudulently. And with an asking price way below market. Guess who the buyer is? I already knew, another shell company tied to Travis. That's when the plan came together. We weren't just going to stop the sale. We were going to detonate the scheme right under them. Friday, 11:47 a.m. Listing went live. I was sitting in Mason's office, coffee in one hand, watching the screen as my house, popped up on Quick Turn Realty's site for $379,000. Way under value. Guess they wanted it to move fast, Mason muttered. Like they've done this before, I replied. We already knew they had. Mason had dug up 3 other cases. Same players, same playbook. All military guys, all deployed, all blindsided. By 1 p.m., we had what we needed. A freeze order on the sale, signed by a judge in Harris County. Mason filed it while I dialed the county clerk and the bank that approved the refinance. I have evidence of fraud, I told the mortgage officer. Forgery, identity theft, and I'm prepared to go public if this isn't investigated immediately. They took me seriously. Monday morning, I walked into that bank with 3 printed documents. A copy of my real signature, a scan of the forged one Jess used, and my military ID. The loan manager paled. We'll need to escalate this to legal immediately. Already filed a police report, I said calmly, and you'll be getting a subpoena from my attorney. By noon, the refinance was frozen, the fake transaction dead in the water. But it got better. That afternoon, Travis got pulled over in my truck, still registered in my name. His license? Suspended. The cops? Curious why he had a glove box full of prescription pads from the vet clinic Jess worked at. Spoiler alert, they weren't blank. Turns out Jess had been helping herself to painkiller scripts. Probably for resale, maybe for leverage. Who knows? Police launched an investigation. I didn't have to lift a finger. Then came the real gem. Spencer, the shady real estate agent, had unknowingly CC'd a potential buyer on an email with an attachment that included my forged signature on the seller's authorization form. Mason nearly choked laughing. They're making it too easy. We handed that over to the feds, quietly. Meanwhile, I checked the home security feed. At 2:38 p.m., a man in khakis, Spencer, walked into my living room, measuring windows, snapping photos with his phone. Jess followed him around, giving the tour. I recorded everything. She didn't know I still had remote access, didn't know I could hear her say, he's still on the rig, probably won't be back for months. Didn't know that I was the one watching in real time from a Starbucks 20 minutes away. That night, I sent the feed to Agent Luna at the FBI's white-collar division. She didn't respond until the next morning. Her message: "We've been building a case on Spencer. You just gave us the last piece." 2 days later, Mason and I drove to the neighborhood and parked across the street from my house at 10:04 a.m. Spencer pulled up with Travis. They walked up the drive, chatting casually. Jess wasn't home, probably at work. I hit record on my phone and streamed the security feed to the FBI via cloud access. Spencer stood in the living room, talking numbers. "If we list by Friday, I've got a cash buyer ready. We dropped the price a bit. We can close by end of month." Travis nodded. "Let's do it. He's got no clue." That's when the FBI vans rolled in. 6 black SUVs, 1 unmarked cruiser. Like something out of a movie. Agents swarmed the place. Spencer and Travis barely had time to say, "What the?" before they were cuffed and escorted outside. I stayed parked 2 houses down, watching it unfold like a live episode of Justice. Mason sipped his coffee. "You want to go talk to her?" "No," I said. "Let her come to me," and she did. 3 hours later, Jess called. I let it ring. Then came the text. "Mark, what the hell did you do?" I didn't respond. Next text. "They arrested Travis. Said something about wire fraud and forged documents. Did you report me?" I finally typed back. "You forged my name, stole my savings, tried to sell my house. What do you think I did?" No reply. But a few hours later, her attorney called Mason, worried, panicked, wanting to negotiate. Mason smiled. "Let them sweat." That evening, I got an email from Agent Luna. Spencer and Travis had both flipped, gave up names, dates, patterns. The FBI had uncovered a ring of fraudulent real estate schemes targeting military families during deployments. Jess's name was all over it. Agent Luna called the next morning. "Mark, we've got enough to move forward with federal charges, conspiracy, wire fraud, identity theft. Spencer and Travis are cooperating." "And Jess?" I asked. "That's trickier." Travis told the agents Jess was just along for the ride. Claimed she believed everything he told her, that I was cheating, hiding money offshore, planning to abandon her. Bull. I knew Jess. She wasn't stupid. She was just greedy and tired of waiting around. "She's not under arrest yet," Luna said, "but she's on our radar." I thanked her and hung up. I didn't feel triumphant, just hollow. The next night I stopped by my old house. I parked 3 driveways down and walked past, slow and casual. The porch light was off. No cars. In the driveway, grass overgrown, curtains drawn tight. It didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a place where something bad had happened, like a crime scene. I turned and walked away. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. "Jess. Voicemail. Mark, I know you probably hate, but can we talk just once, please?" I didn't respond. 2 days later, she showed up at Mason's office, no lawyer, just her, standing in the hallway in an oversized sweatshirt looking like she hadn't slept in days. Mason stepped out of our meeting and crossed his arms. "What do you want?" "I just want to talk to Mark," she said quietly. He looked at me. "Oh, your call." I stepped into the hallway. Jess looked smaller, not physically, just drained, like the shine had been scrubbed off. "You don't have to say anything," she said. "I just want to explain." I said nothing. She stared at the floor. "I didn't know everything Travis was doing. I swear. I thought you'd moved on. You were always gone. You never called. I thought maybe you were hiding money. I got scared." "Scared enough to forge my name?" I asked. My voice was flat. She flinched. "I didn't. At first. Travis said it was just paperwork, said we could sell before things got messy, that we'd split the cash and you'd be fine." I raised an eyebrow. "You were gonna split my house?" Her lip trembled. "I know I messed up, I do. I was angry and stupid. But I didn't mean for it to go this far. I believed part of that, maybe even most of it. But the damage was done. Then why are you here?" She hesitated, then handed me a piece of paper, a written confession, detailing the forged signature, the refinance, the prescription pads, all of it, signed and dated. "I don't want to go to prison," she said, "but I'll accept whatever you think is fair. Just, please don't let this destroy both our lives." I took the paper, read it once, then looked her in the eye. "You already destroyed it. This is just the cleanup." She nodded, tears running silently down her face. When she left, Mason turned to me. "What do you want to do?" I didn't know. I'd spent weeks fantasizing about revenge. But now that it was in my hands, it didn't feel like justice. It felt like ashes. We filed the document with the feds the next day. Jess's cooperation helped them lock in the charges on Spencer and Travis, but it also bought her some goodwill. Luna called me later that week. If you want to push for charges against your ex, we can. But with her confession and restitution, the DA's open to negotiation. What kind of restitution? She's offering to walk away from everything. House, savings, car, even her share of your pension. And if I say no, she gets charged alongside Travis and Spencer. Minimum 5 years if it sticks. I paced the porch of my rental house for almost an hour. I thought about the 13 years we spent together, about the wedding on the lake, the road trips, the nights she fell asleep on my chest after I got home from the rigs, and then I thought about the forged signature, the savings gone, the other man in my hoodie, in my kitchen. I called Luna back. I want it in writing. She signs away every claim. Full confession. No contact, ever. You're sure? No revenge, just boundaries. All right, she said. We'll draw it up. A week later, the documents were signed. Jess moved out of the house. The FBI raided Spencer's brokerage. Travis took a plea deal. 6 years in federal prison. Jess avoided charges. Barely, but I didn't forgive her. She texted one last time. Thank you, I'll never bother you again. I hope someday you find peace. I didn't reply. I wasn't looking for peace. I was looking for something real. The paperwork came through on a Wednesday morning. Stamped, signed, final. Jess had officially relinquished all claims to the house, the car, the joint savings, even the dog. Not that she ever cared about Max. That dog was mine since day one. Mason handed me the envelope like it was a trophy. You just won the cleanest divorce I've ever seen, he said. No alimony, no court battles, not even a fake tear on the paperwork. I smirked. She ran a con, I just cleaned up the mess. But it wasn't just about Jess anymore. 3 days later, I got a call from Agent Luna. You might want to sit down for this, she said. Turns out this wasn't an isolated ring. Travis and Spencer were part of a larger network. Of what? Real estate fraud, specifically targeting military families. Deployed spouses, divorce situations, they'd pressure the partner left behind, then swoop in with fake deals. Undervalue the property, flip it, split the cash. How many families? 12 confirmed. Could be more. I leaned against the wall of my tiny rental and rubbed my eyes. Let me guess, my case cracked it open? Pretty much, she said. Your documentation, the security footage, the forged signature, it gave us probable cause to raid Spencer's office. We're now working with federal prosecutors. There's going to be a grand jury. And Jess? Still cooperating. But if she steps out of line, the deal's gone. Good. But that night, something unexpected happened. I got a letter. Not an email, not a text. A handwritten letter. It was from a woman in North Carolina. Navy wife. Her husband had been deployed for 8 months when Travis and Spencer tried to run the same game on her. She'd been days from signing over her home when the FBI stepped in. They told me about you, she wrote. How you fought back when most would have just walked away. You saved my family's house, thank you. I read the letter 3 times, then pinned it to my fridge. Over the next 2 weeks, more letters trickled in. 2 from San Diego, 1 from a widow in Virginia Beach, a young Marine couple in Florida, all saying the same thing. You exposed them. You gave us time. You gave us a chance. It hit me harder than I expected. I didn't fight this battle for anyone but myself. But somehow, the fallout had created something bigger, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel like just a guy who'd been screwed over. I felt like someone who had done something right. Still, I wasn't going back. To that house, too many ghosts in the walls, too many memories that looked good from far away, but up close were rotting at the edges. So I sold it. Market had rebounded, and Mason got me a decent deal. Not as much as it could have been, but enough to start fresh. I bought a small place outside of Austin, single-story metal roof, wraparound porch, 10 acres of peace, room to breathe, and no one else's name on the deed but mine. I took early retirement from offshore work. After 20 years on the rigs, my knees ached in the cold, and my back told me it was time. The payout was enough to keep me steady. Add that to the cash from the house and my pension, and for once I didn't feel like I was treading water. I started building furniture. Nothing fancy, just solid pieces, chairs, tables, porch swings. Local folks came by, word spread. I wasn't running a business, really, just keeping my hands busy. And slowly the quiet started to feel okay. One afternoon I was sanding, down a cedar bench when my phone buzzed. Blocked number. Normally I wouldn't answer, but something told me to. It was Agent Luna. Thought you'd want to know, she said. Spencer pled guilty this morning. 18 counts, he'll serve at least 12 years. And Travis? 6, with parole possible after 4, but there's more. Spencer flipped again, named 3 other real estate firms involved in similar fraud rings. Jesus. Your case is being used in training material now. FBI internal protocol for spotting financial abuse in military families. Your name's redacted, of course. Of course, I said. Wouldn't want to get fan mail. She laughed. Too late. You're a minor legend in the bureau now. We hung up. I stared out at the tree line, the wind moving through the leaves, Max snoring at my feet. For the first time in a long while, there was nothing to fix, no trap to set, no scam. To unravel, just air and space and a second chance. 6 months passed. The fraud trials wrapped. The headlines faded. Spencer and Travis went to prison. The FBI closed the file with a bow on top. My name never hit the news, but inside the walls of federal agencies and military circles, the story had traveled. They called it the home front sting. And me? I just called it done. I didn't think much about Jess anymore. She disappeared quietly, moved back in with her sister in Tempe, I heard. Got another job at a vet clinic. No Travis, no real estate deals, just a woman with a past she wouldn't talk about. I was okay with that. Closure doesn't always look like a perfect ending. Sometimes it's just silence. One quiet October morning, I took Max on a walk along the trail behind my property. The air smelled like pine and wood smoke. I hadn't checked my phone all day and I didn't care. Then I saw the car, parked near. The fence, dusty, Texas plates, not local. I narrowed my eyes. A woman stepped out, not Jess, blonde, early 30s. Nervous but determined. She held something in her hands. A folder, a photograph, and a wrinkled envelope. Are you Mark Briggs? She asked. I nodded, cautious. I'm Katie Morrison, she said. My husband served with your friend Derek. Mason gave me your address. I kept my distance. What's this about? Her voice cracked a little. My parents, they were victims of Spencer and Travis. Same scheme. They lost everything. My dad had a stroke 6 months after they lost their house. I felt something, cold, settle in my chest. I'm sorry. They're okay now, she added quickly. We got some of the restitution, enough to start over. But she held out the envelope. We wouldn't have had anything if it wasn't for you. Inside the envelope was a hand-drawn thank you card, crayon, sloppy handwriting, a kid's work. It said, "Thank you, Mr. Mark, for saving my grandma's house. I love my room. Dylan, age 7. I swallowed the lump in my throat before it could betray me. I didn't do much, I said softly. You did enough, Katie whispered. She left without asking for anything else. And for the first time, I allowed myself to feel everything I'd kept buried. The betrayal, the rage, the guilt, the shame of being fooled, the pride of fighting back, the grace of letting go. I went back inside, poured a glass of bourbon, and stood on the porch with Max watching the sunset bleed across the trees. That night, I finally opened the old hard drive I'd kept locked away. Photos, me and Jess on our wedding day. Me coming home from the rig, her running into my arms. 100 memories I hadn't had the guts to delete. I stared at them for a long time. Then, dragged the folder to the trash, clicked empty, and just like that, the ghosts were gone. 2 months later, I got a call from a local high school. Someone had told them I was handy with tools and had served in the military. They were building a new shop class and wanted to know if I'd be interested in helping out part-time. I said I'd think about it. Next day, I walked into the school's dusty wood shop. The place smelled like sawdust and paint thinner. I felt at home. The kids didn't care who I used to be. Didn't care about the past, they just wanted to build things with their hands and not be stuck in front of screens all day. I could relate. One kid, maybe 15, asked me why I walked with a old rig injury, I said. You fix oil rigs, he asked wide-eyed. Sometimes, but mostly I just fixed my life. He didn't get it. But I did. These days I don't get emails from lawyers or alerts from banks. I get texts from teens asking which sandpaper to use on pine. I get handshakes from dads at the local farmer's market when they buy one of my handmade rocking chairs. I get quiet mornings and loud tools and a dog who thinks I hung the moon. And every now and then I think about Jess. Not with anger. Not with love. Just with distance. Like someone I once knew in a different life. A life she tried to erase but failed. Because I'm still here and I'm still standing. And everything I've built since, it's mine, all mine. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought? Or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.